first video we put out there on the preparation for France. This one is just a bit of a follow-up and a bit of a close, really, just to give you a flavour for what we did learn and whether we do anything different again. And I suppose, more importantly, would we go back?
Big question.
Yeah, big question. Big
I
question.
think you all know. If you've seen the French videos, I think you'll all know the answer to that one.
Yeah, we'd definitely go back. It was very good. And in fact, I think we're already sort of planning or got in our mind what we want to do next year. But that can wait for now.
More adventures.
Yeah. So what did we learn on our first trip to France? Well, I suppose for me, I wouldn't say concern, but the biggest apprehension as such was obviously driving on the right hand side of the road. I think that was the key thing, and how that'd work out. And in all fairness, I suppose after a couple of days, really, it just became second nature. I think the most scariest bit actually was coming off the ferry when we docked at Calais, because it was just like a free-for-all. And of course, you're sort of thinking, I've got to drive on the right-hand side of the road, and what lanes do I need to be in? And there was like stuff just crisscrossing all over in front of us, wasn't there?
I don't think the sat-nav helped either, did it?
No, we had a bit of an initial issue with the sat-nav, in so much as obviously we were on the ferry and waiting to come off. I put the journey in for the first campsite. Well, in fact, I put the journey in for the first stop, which was going to be a supermarket, which we'll come on to. It hadn't really picked up, I don't think, the fact that we'd left England and were in France, because as we were driving down the road, it kept going, turn right here, and wanting to bring us off. And I sort of knew in my mind that we didn't want to come off. We needed to carry on to join up with the main road. Anyhow, we did. I did turn off. I succumbed to the sat-nav and I turned off, and then I realised that it wanted to take us all the way back to where we'd come from. So we went round the roundabout, rejoined the road, and off we set.
Yeah.
And we ignored the sat-nav. And
it actually worked out really well, because once you get off the initial few roundabouts, you're just on a road, and we could sort of gather our thoughts then, couldn't we?
Yeah.
And we took it quite steadily, so everybody could just come past us, and we got ourselves together and realised how the road signs work, where the numbering is, and things like that, really.
Yeah. I mean, they seem to work, don't they, a lot more on sort of street names and things.
Yes,
as such. And the road numbers are just little sort of rectangular blocks at the top of the sign above any sort of name boards and things. I think the other thing on driving as well, and Jules just mentioned roundabouts, because we decided we didn't want to use toll roads and we wanted to sort of avoid toll roads wherever possible. Because not necessarily because we didn't want to pay the tolls, but we wanted to see more of France as a place. And one thing we found was that they like their roundabouts.
To be fair, there were.
Oh, they're nice.
There's usually only one lane going into them, so you can't really get into the wrong lane, which is my thing in England, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they were just very straightforward.
Yeah,
there was just no hassle with them all, and people going from one lane to another. You didn't really have to look at that, did you? It was
only it was only if you got into sort of the built-up areas where you maybe got a couple of lanes and things and stuff like that. But in general, they were just single lanes, so they were quite nice, and especially when you're a bit unsure, because you just sort of plonk yourself in the middle of the road a bit as you approach and take up the whole road. Roundabouts. The other one was lots of speed humps as well. When you're going through villages and things, we noticed speed humps and zebra crossings. They like the zebra crossings. Some of the speed humps as well can be quite severe. We were okay, but I can understand how some people could bottom out if you've got quite a low van, or you hit it a bit too fast. I could understand how it could take off bits underneath your van.
The rear was quite bad for that, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ile de Ré, that was that had some quite severe ones. And the other thing I think from a driving point of view is speed limits. I noticed when you sort of approaching villages, small sort of towns or whatever, you don't really get any advance warning of speed. It's just a case of you hit the sign and it goes to 50 kilometres or 20 kilometres, isn't it, depending on what you're going through. We had the sat nav, so the sat nav proved very useful in giving us a bit of an advance warning, because in some places you came around the corner and it was like, there you were. And then I think the other thing with driving was tolls, wasn't it?
Yeah, the toll was very easy. We went into it and then we paid at the other end. We didn't have a blip and go or anything like that. We decided, as you've seen the previous video, that there was a bit of confusion about weights, heights and everything like that. So we decided not to bother with that. And we were quite pleased that we hadn't really, because we got to the toll booth. It was an unmanned one. So literally just flashed my card on the contactless, let us through the barrier, off we go. So it all happened sort of a little bit quickly, so we didn't really know how much it had charged us, and we did find that it took about 3 or 4 working days to appear on my card statement, but it was only about £8 or £9.
Yeah, it charged us by height, didn't it, as opposed to weight. So we did find it more beneficial to not have bought a toll card. But to be fair, we only used that one toll road, and that was only because the other thing I suppose that brings us on nicely was supermarkets.
Key bank holidays. We should have done that, and we didn't realise that we arrived on a bank holiday. So we had it all set up to go to this supermarket that we thought was a really convenient place with a nice big car park. Got there, but it was a nice big empty car park, and we realised it was a bank holiday, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we just had a bit of food that we had. We had a pot noodle.
Yeah.
We went out for tea that night.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
didn't we?
Yeah, which was very nice.
So you have to bear in mind that bank holidays, I know in the UK, every shop stays open basically on a bank holiday. France, it doesn't. A bank holiday means that everything shuts. Nothing will be open at all, apart from restaurants, basically. And you find that Sundays as well, if you're travelling on a Sunday, then make sure that you don't want to stop at a supermarket. Occasionally they're open on the morning, but they will all be closed by lunchtime. And lots of places during the week close on a lunchtime as well. And also quite a few petrol stations don't open on a Sunday, do they?
No.
If you're travelling on a Sunday, then just have a bit of foresight to fill up and get any food that you're needing as well. So because they do adhere to bank holidays and Sundays. I have to say that the roads were very quiet on a Sunday, weren't they? It was a lovely day.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Because the HGVs, the majority of them can't travel on a Sunday, so we have to say Sunday was a lovely day to travel. The food wise, we took everything out of the fridge. Not that we took very much, but we did have some butter and things for sandwiches and things that we took on the day that we went down to Black Horse to travel across. We had breakfast and then we got rid of the milk and butter and things like that we knew that we weren't supposed to travel with. We didn't get checked at all. We didn't see anybody else getting checked. So I think in the future, if we had a little bit of milk, a little bit of butter or whatever left, we would just leave it in the fridge, wouldn't we?
We'd just take it.
Because as I say, with the bank holiday, and we couldn't get any more over there, we couldn't get any milk, couldn't get any butter, anything like that. So we did struggle a bit that day. Yeah. So I think in the future we would just have, I wouldn't take stacks of stuff in the fridge or anything, but if I'd got a little bottle of milk or a little thing of Marge left, then we would take it with us.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's just one of those, isn't it, that you sort of learn these things. I mean, the key thing is that we won't go on a bank holiday.
Because it didn't matter what day we went.
No, it didn't really. It was just as it was.
I think the ferry was a little bit cheaper on that day, which I found surprising, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what. I think that was the main driving force once it crossed the ferries.
So they do have a bank holiday on the 1st of May, and then they have another one on the 8th of May, don't they?
Yeah, we seem to have hit. May seems a popular month, I think, for bank holidays.
Yeah,
that's it, isn't the UK, I suppose. Just on the fuel stations and things. I mean, fuel wise. Price is very, very similar to the UK. Odd ones were maybe fractionally cheaper, but in general they were there or thereabouts. Gas was certainly cheaper and it's more readily available. And I suppose the other thing that we found with fuel stations once, it was that the majority of them self-service. So you need, obviously you need a card.
Pay at
pump rather, yeah. Need to do that. So that was it from a fuel and food side.
Yeah.
Moving on to campsites, we booked the first couple, and then after that, we just as and when, wasn't it? But in all fairness, we didn't have any problem getting on anywhere, did we?
No, I mean, in the preparation work that we'd done, we did have we sort of knew vaguely where we wanted to stop, and we did look for a few campsites and made a little list of 3 or 4 in each place that we were going to go to. So we did have an idea of campsites that were in those areas. So a couple of them we did email the day before, got back to us straight away. away in English, saying that it was fine, just turn up, which is what we did really. A couple of them you could book online, book them sort of maybe the day before, but certainly no more planning than a day before, was it?
And I think the other thing as well, isn't it, as we said, as we were driving around, I mean, we passed numerous airs, didn't we?
The airs were everywhere.
So we and I mean, we did use a couple, but you would certainly be quite happy to go again and even have probably less planning from a campsite point of view. But
and the airs were really good quality, weren't they?
Well, the ones that we sort of passed, I mean, obviously the different source, isn't there? But and again, motorhome facilities, most, well, if not all the villages that we sort of went through and passed through of decent size had motorhome service points signposted, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Or they had an air nearby or whatever. So yeah, very good. I suppose the other thing, just on campsites as well, going back to money, some of the sites we stayed on did only take cash as payment, didn't they?
So just make sure that you have a mix of cards and cash. There were a couple. There were also a couple that didn't speak English, so having a basic French knowledge would be quite beneficial too. We did find that beneficial, didn't we? And just take a couple of €100 or whatever, just to tide you over.
Share, The other thing, most of the sites were shared facilities, weren't they? So if you're a bit concerned about that, just bear that in mind. They were fine, weren't they? I mean,
didn't feel uneasy.
No, and I mean, indeed, and in fairness, some of the facilities, as we got further down and round to La Rochelle, but the facilities were sort of outside, weren't they? So you could choose whether you wanted to shower inside or outside.
It was but you just, once you got used to the unisex facilities, I mean, that's just how it is in Europe, and that it's sort of more relaxed, but there wasn't a point where I felt uncomfortable about going in there at all.
No. But the other thing on toilets, just while we're on toilets, toilet paper.
Have a roll of toilet paper by your door and take it out with you.
I mean, well, it was some of our friends who we met up with who said they'd come across quite a lot as they went down into Spain that didn't have toilet paper. In all fairness, we only came across one site. There was only one where it wasn't that it didn't have toilet paper. It actually had toilet paper, but it was just in a machine outside the cubicles. So it's like, you had to remember to take it in with you, which obviously people didn't, because you could see them. If you could tell.
And some people took too much in,
and then obviously
it was still left on the floor.
I
don't get it really, but anyway. But there was one where they didn't do it at all. I think it was the last.
Oh yes, the last one.
Yeah, they didn't have any at all. So if you're doing a bit of a recce on your first walk round, just check that.
Yeah.
Don't get caught out.
And in terms of site arrival and leaving times, I mean, they all seemed quite relaxed, didn't they?
They did,
it was like, come and go as you please. Other than sort of in most cases, a lot between 12 and 2, once it when most places sort of shut down in any case. But other than that, they were all quite.
Yeah, I mean, people. If you didn't have a booking, you could go in the morning, couldn't you, and see whether they'd got one, and they would just let you on there.
Yeah, if they had space, they'd let you on. They didn't seem that bothered about times and things.
Yeah. And a couple of sites we asked for an extra night, and that was fine, didn't we? When we'd stayed, and then when we were due to go, we said, "Can we stay another night?" And that was never a problem.
Buses, I mean, we only used one bus, didn't we, to go up into Angers, but we found it very, very easy, didn't we?
Yeah, it was easy. Just get card and cash.
Yeah, and cost effective, wasn't it? I mean, it was. I
think it was about €2 per journey.
Something like that, yeah.
£8.
Yeah, from where we stayed up to Angers, so that was good, and clean, tidy, weren't they, and everything.
Yeah, and just worth bearing in mind that the timetable does really take into account the lunchtime, sleepy time. So between sort of 11 and 3, you're looking at a bit of a skeleton service, really, if there's a service at all. So it's worth just bearing that in mind, really.
Just going back to camping sites. I mean, we also had the Axie and camping car, didn't we?
They were great. Yeah, we'll definitely take those again. The Axie. We did take the big book. They did give you 2 books when you join Axie. relative to the countries that you're going to be visiting. I did take the French one with me, although I didn't really use the book because I had the app. I did find that the app was very, very useful. You just put in the area that you're going in and it brings them all up, rather than flicking through the book. So we'd saved quite a lot of money on that, didn't we?
Yeah,
got sort of €7-8 a night, which was really good. You can only use it in low season, so which I think is every month apart from July and August. So if you're going off season, it really does make a massive difference. That so yeah, we would definitely use Axie again. Camping car. If you've seen the video, then obviously you'll know that you don't. If you're just joining it now, you don't get a physical card. It's purely a digital membership, which is a bit misleading from the acknowledgement emails when you first join. So just bear that in mind. But they're very, very easy. They just send you a code to put in at the machine in the campsite. The barrier goes up. You can either load your card and it'll take it off at the time, or you can pay on exit. So they're very easy. Lovely facilities, aren't they?
Yeah,
really well.
No, it's good.
Very safe. It's barrier in and barrier out. Obviously no facilities on the majority of them, so you've got to be self-contained. But there's water and emptying facilities as well, so we definitely use them again as well. You can just preload your card with money before you go if you want to, if you know that it's then paid for. So yeah, definitely do that.
Yeah.
And if you don't use the money that's on your card, it does carry over. It's not sort of an annual thing where it gets wiped off or anything. So we've still got a few euros left on there for next time.
Yeah, and then I think the last thing really was just when we were coming back through Calais. We hadn't come back through Calais before because we hadn't been to Europe before. When we arrived, the signs, the initial signage seemed to indicate that we needed to be. There was 3 lanes from memory, weren't there? And the initial signage seemed to indicate we needed to be in the sort of the near side 2 lanes, as the outer lane was sort of signposted for Calais for the city centre and town centre. But the 2 outer lanes, or the 2 inner lanes, 2 near side lanes were quite heavily congested, weren't they, with an awful lot of commercials and things. So after a bit of umming and ahhing, people were going past in the outside lane.
And there's quite a few British cars.
And there was quite a lot of British stuff, yeah, and and a few motorhomes and things. Although there was motorhomes and cars in the lanes we were in, but we ended up pulling across into the outer lane and followed it down. And anyhow, in fairness, that was the right thing to do because the other 2 lanes, as we got further down, were indicated for freight.
And when you got past it did say town centre, but then after you got past the town centre sign, it then split into cars and town centre. So that's when you can filter into the ferry terminal.
So that was good. But other than that was sort of the main things. I mean, we had a great time, didn't we? We really enjoyed it. We could have stayed longer without a doubt. And we'll go back to Europe. So if anybody's thinking of it for a first time or whatever, then yeah, go for it because it's
brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was very, very lot easier.
It's easier than this country.
A lot of things are very, very much easier than this country. The amount of airs and the ease of driving on the roads, I think, did it for me, really.
And the cost of the sites, I mean, you can make it a very cheap holiday.
We're talking sort of 13, 14 pounds a night.
Yeah, you can make it very cheap if you want to.
Yeah.
Even the sites with swimming pools and play things and that, you're only talking
£16, £17
pounds, don't they, that time of year?
Yeah, go for it. If you want to put any comments in, or whether we enjoyed the videos, or if you've got any questions about anything that we might be able to answer for you, then please get in touch. It's always helpful, I think, to get somebody else's view of things, isn't it, who's actually been. So I hope you've enjoyed our travels in France and watch this space for the next adventure.
We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.